Welcome back. I'm Calvin Staute Fanatic here with another review, and today we're going to take a look at a character from Hong Kong comics. This character is called Shibumi. He is a villain in the comics. The name of the comic that he appears in is called Dragon Tiger Gate. It was also published in the United States back in the late 80s under the name of Oriental Heroes. Unfortunately, that title no longer is published in the United States. It's only, I think, strictly published in Chinese now. So as far as the story and all that goes, I have no idea. But I actually did collect this comic back in the 80s. I think this is the first issue. I think it started in 1988. Issue number 1. I actually collected the entire run of this particular comic. So if you're into that, you can probably still find the American versions of these comics, but they're pretty awesome. I love the story. So back to this character here. He's actually a villain, and interestingly enough, in Hong Kong comics, the Invincible Swordsman, which was the first in the series of Hong Kong statues that XM released, and this is the second, Shibumi. As far as villains go and as far as characters go in the comics, these two characters are as iconic in Hong Kong comics as Batman or let's say Spider-Man is in the United States. They are freaking mega characters in the Hong Kong comics. This guy is a supervillain and the nemesis of the Dragon Tiger Gate heroes of the series. And there's an actual live-action movie based on these characters as well. At least this character appears in the movie. It's called Dragon Tiger Gate, just like the comics. And this particular character shows up in it. In fact, I think that the fight scenes, the martial art fight scenes in this movie are some of the best choreographed fight scenes, I guess, in cinema. If you've ever seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, a lot of the fight scenes are like that. So check out this scene. This is a scene where he fights, I think it's Master Wong in the movie. So check this out. Wow, like I said, I love this movie. It's a really great movie, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. So without further ado, let's just get started with the review here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the packaging like we always do. And so to my left here, we actually have the box that XM shipped this in. The box, interestingly enough, is one of the smallest XM boxes I think I've ever gotten. I love it. But one of the cool things about this particular box also is that I think as far as artwork is concerned, the Invincible Swordsman looked almost identical to this box. And this box itself, I can't think of any other statues that actually came where there's complete artwork all around the box. But I like the fact that it's small. And if you turn it around, you can see not a whole lot. And then I'm not going to open this, but if you take a look at the image that I have here, you can see that on the image that there is some writing and some history of the character that's in the inside of the box. So that's the box. And so moving on to the statue, but before we get to that, I want to show you guys, it came with a freaking amazing print. I love that XM actually includes these prints, and this one here I think is one of the best ones I've seen so far. I love the artwork on it. It's pretty freaking awesome. And it also comes with an array of switch out parts. I think they really did it with the switch out parts here, and we'll go over some of them later, and I'll show you some of the different switch outs and some of the different configurations. So, but let's get started with some of the dimensions of the statue here. Thank you, XM. This base is amazing. It's small. And it works. I love the fact that you guys have got this small base going. So the statue itself is about 22 inches tall. And then as far as the width of the statue, if you're looking at the, let's turn it around here. If you're looking at from here to where the cape extends out just a little bit, it's about 12 inches. And in terms of it being width, if you go from the edge of the base here to where the cape ends here, is about 14 inches. The base itself is only 6 inches. But what's interesting about this is if you decide to display this character with this weapon, from here to here, it actually is 22 inches long. So that could be a challenge in terms of displaying the statue. Going back to the base, this is where I want to start the review. I am so freaking stoked about this base. It is an amazing piece of art. The sculpt is just incredible. I've got pictures that you can see here where I've done some close-ups, but I actually took some pictures of the base before I put the statue on it because I wanted to get a top-down view of the base where you can see that there's this tiger laying here and then there's this dragon. The dragon's actually cut in half. And the detail is just simply incredible. The base actually appears to be, in terms of the way that it's painted, it looks like it's brass or something like that, and bronze, if you will. And as far as the tiger, there's a lot of detail in his face, where whiskers would go. You could even see that. You can see pupils in his eyes, even though it's painted in a way to make it look like it's bronze or something. On each of the edges of it, you can see the symbol of this character right here with his mask on. It's just an incredible, incredible, incredible base. And then on the sides of the base, this side, and if I turn it around, you also have the same thing on this side. So what you see here is there's these chains, and you can see him holding these chains, and you've got these souls, or it looks like what is souls. And from one of the comics that I read, there's something to that, where you can see him dragging these souls behind him, or these individuals that he's killed or whatever behind him. Because he actually has supernatural powers, by the way. Really, really cool base. This is just one of the best sculpts I've seen in terms of base and detail and that type of stuff. I really love it a lot. Now, moving on up to his boots, again, an amazing job when it comes to detailing and sculpting these boots. Check out the stitching in the boots, the laces. Each lace you can see that weaves through each of the holes here, the way that it's sculpted. It looks amazing. And then at the very top of it, they're tied off, and you can see the edges of the lace just hanging and dangling down there. Some type of material there. It's not, actually leather, but it just looks really freaking amazing. If you can see stitching around the base of his boots, it just looks incredible. And then if you go up to his pants, you can see where the sculpting and the wrinkling in his pants looks phenomenal. Fantastic job. I am loving everything about the way that this is sculpted. And then going up to the midsection, his belt buckle, again, very good job when it comes to the sculpt on the belt buckle. Moving up to the torso and his chest, I mean, look at this guy. I mean, the sculpting is amazing. The 6-pack or 8-pack or whatever the hell you want to call it, he looks freaking awesome. Even going up to his head sculpt, to the portrait, in fact, his eyebrows are actually sculpted on as well. He comes with 2 portraits, and I'm going to actually switch them out so you can see what the portraits look like once we get through with this part of it. As I turn it around, the hair, great, sculpted really, really well. Love the hair. And then as far as the weapon that he has in his hand, this is some type of, feels like metal here that he's holding, and this is not. This is looks like some type of resin or something at the tips of it. But on the end of it, you can see that there is an actual image, it looks like, of the mask here inside of that. Really fantastic job. Now, as far as his coat is concerned, love the way that this is sculpted and blowing in the wind in the same direction of his hair. The buttons on it, it's just really nicely done. I love this statue. I'm more impressed in person than I was when I actually saw it on the website. And as far as his pose is concerned, I mean, I love the pose. I love him walking into whatever he's walking into. In this particular setup, you can see where he's either taking the mask off or putting the mask on. What's really interesting about this mask, though, is that he has like this dual personality in the comics. So he is actually a kind-hearted, nice, loving individual with the mask off. As soon as he puts the mask on, he basically transforms into this demon and this evil person, kind of like a freaking psychotic Joker or something. But just great design, great pose, love all of this. Now, when it comes to the paint application, phenomenal. The paint application on here is just fantastic. With the base, for example, the way they have this two-tone color on it, where it looks like he's standing on some type of bronze fixed statue or platform that has begun to oxidize in the weather. It's just great. There's a little green tinge to it where you can see the bronze that's still showing. It just looks amazing. The weathered look on it looks amazing. As far as the paint application on his clothes and everything looks fantastic. The same thing with the same with his eyes, the way they're painted. I'm just loving everything about this. You can tell I'm kind of giddy about it because it's just a really great statue in terms of the paint application. I don't know if it shows up as well on the photos as it does in person, but his coat, for example, it has subtle changes of shades to it, like it's really dark here, like you would like a worn leather coat, and then you can see where the brown part of it is kind of lighter, and then where it's worn a little bit more, it gets a little bit darker. I love the shading on that. It just looks phenomenal. Looks fantastic. I don't know what else to say about it except I love the statue. It's a fantastic piece. So let's do a few things with the switch outs here. So we can change out a number of things. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take his arm off here, and I'm going to put a different arm on him. I'm going to put this one where he's holding this translucent type fire, because like I said, he can actually do mystical type stuff, like freaking he has powers. He did that in that scene that I showed you guys where he was fighting Master Wong. And so the other thing that I want to do is I want to take off this particular portrait here, and I want to put the portrait on him where he has the mask on, and that looks freaking awesome. Love it. The paint detail on the mask, the sculpting on it, the horns, the sculpting around his eyes looks just phenomenal. Love this. It looks amazing. So with that, I'm going to actually take off this arm as well. And I'm going to lay that here, and I'm going to put the other arm on right here. And now you can see where he has both fires. And again, you probably saw where he did something like that in the video. Of course, he doesn't look like this in the movie. The mask looks completely different and everything. But yeah, that's one of them. And so we can also do a few other change outs and switch outs. But I'm not going to go through all of them because he actually comes with these two hands here, left and right hand. You can have him with nothing. He comes with a fist as well. But my favorite pose of him is actually the one with him walking, holding the mask. Really like it. Freaking amazing. Yes. Love this piece. Woo! This is awesome. So the only thing left to do is rate this bad boy. And we're going to do it just like we do all the other ones. So starting with the packaging over here. The packaging, love the fact that it was shrunk down. Love the freaking artwork on the box. I mean, what can I say about XM Packaging? They have it down to a science. Freaking 10 out of 10. Now, when it comes to the design and the pose and all of that, I mean, it's freaking amazing. I love it. It's a big 10 for me. And when we're talking about the paint application, I found no flaws. And I mean, it's just a trademark of XM. I mean, they have fantastic QC. And there's only 388 of these guys made. So maybe it doesn't, you know, to QC this isn't as difficult as it is to QC 5,000 pieces. But it looks freaking phenomenal. So with the paint application, 10 out of 10. Now, let's talk about value when it comes to this guy. What I love about the Hong Kong series that XM is doing, and also with the DC series, they have a license to sell it anywhere. And with that, you can actually order this directly from XM. And XM has a couple of places in the US that they distribute these things through. And there's also a couple of companies that actually buy them as well that you can buy from in the US. I happen to buy this one. I bought a couple of pieces directly from XM, and they used a company in the US to ship it to me. But I bought this one from Secret Compass. And what's really cool about having one that has a worldwide license, when you get it through one of these companies, the shipping is not that expensive. To ship this guy in that box was only $65. And when I got the Ultimate Swordsman, which box is 3 times this size, it still was the same amount of money pretty much to ship it to me. So with that said, the value is where we were with this, is a 10 out of 10. And this is the first statue that I have reviewed that has got a perfect 10. Love this statue. And with that, that concludes my entire review of Shibumi from XM Studio from Hong Kong Comics. Now, if you want to stay on top of the latest news in the collecting world, please head over to mcecentral.com. That's Marvelous Collectible and Entertainment, where you will find out what's popping. You will see some of the coolest unboxing, some cool custom statues that you might be interested in, just a lot of really cool things. If you're into movies, you name it, you can probably find it over at mcecentral.com. So until next time, peace.